Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm gonna throw a little disclaimer there. If you hear me sniffing or you think that I sound bunged up, it's because I am pretty bunged up. I have a cold, guys. But I didn't want to delay this episode any longer. This episode is coming very, very late, and that's because I've had a very busy last couple of weeks preparing for my friend's wedding. Whoop, 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 whoop. Guys, I really believe that this year is literally the year of celebrating love. I've been to 7 weddings, so this is the 7th wedding I've been to, and I have one more wedding that I need to go to. That's 8 weddings in 1 year. Do you know how crazy that is? So yeah, I've been to multiple weddings, and I'm not gonna lie, going and kind of witnessing the unions and the commitment that people are making together, it really kind of changed my perspective on what I wanted in a relationship. And I realized that all the things that I was imagining in my head or begging for, I'm here waiting for the bare minimum. But God wants me to have a lot more than that. Like literally seeing these people commit to each other, hearing their vows and everything. I've realized that honestly, I was again expecting the bare minimum, and I've realized that I want the love that God wants for me. I don't want anything less than that. I want the love that God wants for me. And I've realized that there are times, I say, when you've made mistakes, or let's say you've done certain things, and it just makes you feel like you are not deserving of such love. Like, for example, let's say if you feel like you're not in the best financial situation, maybe you've been hurt before, or you don't necessarily understand the concept of love, or you haven't had the best example of love. Like, all of these things can be true, but it doesn't make you any less deserving of the best that God has for you. And in my own experience, my dad left me at a very young age. And obviously many people say that, as a girl, your dad is your first example of a man. He shows you how a man should love you and treat you, and etc, etc, etc. And because I didn't have that, I dealt with a lot of abandonment issues. Something that even till now, sometimes I get triggered. Healing is not linear. It's a process, and I have been going on a healing journey. Like, if I see how I was many years ago and how I am now, there has definitely been growth, and there's been a change. But yeah, so the abandonment issues basically caused me to prepare for disappointment. I would literally be waiting for people to leave. I always have thoughts that, I'm not good enough to be in this relationship or friendship, or this person is going to find some reason and leave me. And lo and behold, they did. They ended up leaving, and it only validated what I was already thinking and feeling, that of course they'll leave me because my dad left me. And that led me to live a very disappointed life, guys. And it's the fact that I didn't realize that I was living a disappointed life. I thought I was fine, but I think when I look back, when I see the way I was thinking about myself, or I was speaking, so I'm reading this book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. If I've butchered his name, I apologize. Mark Wolin. And one of the concepts that it talks about is your core language, and how your core language can kind of be linked to maybe inherited trauma, like trauma you've inherited from parents, or through experiences that you've been through. So your core language can help map let's say your core trauma. So for example, the core trauma, one of my core traumas would be, okay, my dad abandoned me and left me. And so if you look at the way I spoke about myself, it would be, people are always going to leave me, or I'm never going to be good enough to be in a relationship. People won't choose me. That was my core language. Obviously at the time I didn't realize. It was just my reality, and I was just living that. Yes, I was living a very disappointed life. I was disappointed in people, because I had certain expectations of people, and obviously they didn't meet those expectations, and obviously sometimes those expectations were unrealistic at the end of the day. I'm disappointed in myself because, let's say, there were certain risks or certain opportunities that I didn't take, or I felt like I wasted a lot of time. Disappointed in God because he didn't, you know, there were certain things that maybe I wanted and I thought maybe he would want for me, you know, at that time that I wanted it, and obviously he didn't. And so it's very easy to be disappointed. But you know, it says that, you know, for I know the plans I think towards your thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And I'm looking around, I'm looking at the expected end, and I'm like, it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good, bruv. That's literally what I was thinking. But I realized that I was obviously putting my trust in the wrong things. As humans, we're all gonna make mistakes. We're all, you know, gonna let people down. There are times where we've done things and we've hurt people. We may not have intentionally meant to hurt them, but we have hurt people. And I guess when we realize that not everyone is out to get you, you won't be so easily offended. You won't be so easily disappointed. And I guess I rather put my trust in a God that sees it all and knows it all. Look, literally, he says he knows the plans. It doesn't say I know the plan. So even if, let's say, I want a certain thing, I need to realize that there's only so far, you know, that I can see. Even here on this earth, I have 4 eyes. I'm wearing glasses because I cannot even see clearly. Imagine even more in my mind. Literally, we can, if you were to, let's say, close your eyes and think of, okay, what's the greatest thing that you want for yourself? You know, maybe you have all, you know, you're rich, or you open a business, things like that. Let's say you think about all of that and you're like, oh yeah, this is amazing. That is not even a speck of the way, let's say, of the plans that God has for you, or the thoughts that he has for you. He literally says his thoughts are higher than our own thoughts, meaning that we cannot even fathom the plans that he has for us. And I don't know about you, I rather trust in a God that has unlimited, that has immeasurable plans and love for me. I rather trust in a God like that than to trust in man, who at the end of the day, we are all, we're limited to a degree. And the reason why I guess I'm hammering on this is because I really want to speak to the person who I guess is constantly settling for less because they don't think they're worthy of anything more. I just want to remind you that you are worthy of more, and not because I'm saying you are worthy of more, but because of what God says about you. I want to speak to the person who feels like they will never be chosen or loved, or they feel like they're just not enough. Like, I just want to remind you that you truly are precious in the eyes of our Father. And I want to speak to the person who thinks that they're too broken, or they've made too many mistakes, or you know, they're struggling with loving themselves to the point that they're struggling to receive the fullness that God has for you. I want to remind you that you too, you are deserving of love. And so going back to me talking about that, this really is like the year of marriages and celebrating love. I want to encourage you, and I think I spoke about this in one of my previous episodes, about taking a journey of self-love. So I think it's very easy, you know, we look at everyone, you know, everyone loves each other, but we forget that, you know, you need to the first step truly is loving yourself. How can you love anyone else if, you know, you do not love yourself? You know, it says love your neighbors as you love yourself, meaning you cannot love your neighbors if you do not even understand the whole concept of love. So I want to give you like about 3-4 tips in regards to embarking on this journey of self-love. And my first one would be, study what God says about you. You know, I feel like it's very important to learn to love yourself from a God that loves you. Again, certain things that you may have gone through, there are certain words that people may have spoken over you to the point where you don't even know what God is saying about you. Like, you don't know that he has said that he will never leave you nor forsake you. You don't know that he has said that, you know, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that you are chosen, that you are the head and not the tail. When you meditate on the words that God says about you, it would be impossible for you to settle for less than what God says that you should have. It would be impossible. Another thing I would say is take time for yourself. Look, we're always intentional about building relationships and friendship with other people, but we're never intentional about building, again, a relationship with yourself, or learning about yourself. So one thing I'll say is relax. You need to rest. Take yourself out. Take yourself on a little date. Developing is also, I feel like, it's actually a form of self-love. The best investment that you can invest in is literally yourself. Investing in yourself is crucial, and I think it really is a form of self-love. And my last point would be, change the way that you talk about yourself. I think you can really measure how much a person loves, or how much a person loves themselves, based on how they speak about themselves, based on their core language. And sometimes our language can be warped by things of the past, can be warped by things that other people have said, and we've held on to those things, and we've allowed those words to define who we are. And I just want to say, be intentional about challenging those unkind thoughts. If those thoughts do not align with the words that God has said about you, you cannot partner with them. Do not partner with words that are not true. Change the way you speak about yourself. And so, as we are celebrating love, this is a reminder that whether you're single, married, engaged, in a relationship, you are loved. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Let's Talk. I'll see you next time.